Hello, and welcome to another episode of That 60s Recording Podcast, the podcast that has conversations inspired by the golden era of recording. This week is part 2 of my conversation with Ron Ryan, a songwriter and 60s session musician, who wrote for, most notably, the Dave Clark 5. His songs have also been covered by Julian Lennon and a whole host of other people, which we get into. I can't remember which of the conversations it is. It might be this one or it might be next week's. I edited this yesterday, all right, so I can't remember. Okay, so we're just going to dive into it, straight into part 2 of my conversation with Ron Ryan.
But the biggest thing, if I didn't tell you about because the first row that me and Dave had, I mean, I'd known him a few years, and we got on quite well, but he was getting more big-headed, and he was getting more of a monster. We're getting ready to do another single, you see. Dave says, right, I want you to write another single, Ron. We're getting ready to go in the old studio. I said, okay. So I was thinking, and I thought, I don't know. It's getting in a bit of a rut, you know. Yeah. Got bits and pieces and glad all over a lot of songs like that. I said it's all it's a one-trick pony, you know. So anyway, I thought I'd write a ballad. So cut a long story short, I wrote Because, and I phoned Mick up and I phoned Dave up rather. He got Mick round. And I played him the song. You see, I have to play on the piano because I still can't play on guitar. The chords, I can't. You know, there's an augmented chord on there that I can't play. Mm-hmm. I can play on the piano, but I can't play on guitar because it goes like C, A flat augmented. Then it goes to, I think it's A minor and F and F minors. You know, yeah. I can play some of the chords, but not all of them. You know, because I heard it in my head, and as I heard it in my head, that second chord, I thought I haven't a clue what that is on the guitar. So I thought, well, I'll sit down at the piano because I can work it out on the piano because I've got the sound of the chord in my head. You see, and I know roughly where the notes are to make that chord sound. And then I went, there it is. That's it. I put that in there and that's it. And I got the chord, you see. Anyway, I sat at the piano and I played it to the wife. And first, she heard it first. And I said, what do you reckon? She said, oh, it's a nice song. She said, not as nice as sometimes. By the way, if you haven't heard that was one of the first songs I wrote with Bano. We had an agreement. That was before I wrote a song for the band, actually. Yeah. Because he knew I was beginning to write songs, and he said, that's another story. But I wrote Sometimes, and Oliver Reed recorded it as a single. If you go on YouTube, you can hear it. Beg your pardon?
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, that was the first one. Of course, he's got Dave Clark's name along with mine on it. And she said, that's my favourite. It still is. She likes that one best out of all the songs. Hundreds and hundreds of songs I've written, but she likes that one best. Mm. And anyway, Mike said, I like that. That's great. Dave said, I'm not too keen, Ron. I said, what do you mean you're not too keen? I said, it's a bloody good song if I say so myself. And Mike said, yeah, it is good, Ron, yeah. And Dave glared at him, and Mike shut up. Oh, no, I'd say he was like Hitler in the band, I'll tell you, I'm not joking. He said, no, we'll probably use it as a B-side or an album track, as a filler. And I went mad. I said, Dave, I said, you're wrong. And he said, what do you mean I'm bloody wrong? And this, I said, look, you're in danger of being typecast. when Dave Clark 5, bang, 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 or as my dad used to say when he used to listen, I said, the last thing that people will expect you to come out with it is a ballad. The very last thing.
Yeah.
When they say, this is Dave Clark latest release, blah, 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 and that comes on. I said, they'll go into shock. Not only do they go into shock, they'll go into shock. Buy the bugger. I said, you know, it's so different that what, you know, it's a ballad. And don't forget, at that time, all the bands were doing up-tempo stuff.
Yes.
You know, out of the blue comes a ballad. Last thing, I said, not only that, Dave, because I always wrote for the American market. All the songs of Dave Clark were written, not for British. It was written for the American, because that was the biggest market.
Yeah.
And that proved to be the right thing to do. So, and I said, Dave, I said, not only would the fans like it, I said, more importantly, I said, for the first time ever, the mums and dads of the fans might like it.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
I said, they might like it because it's a ballad. They might change their mind about the Dave Clark 5 and start buying the records. I said, there could be a brand new market there. And it proved to be right because I've lost count of the emails I've had over the years and letters I've had over the years saying, that's our song. We had it played at our wedding.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Paul Schaefer, the keyboard player on the, is it not the Letterman? Is it one of the big, Johnny Carson show, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
He had it played at his wedding because he's a big Dave Clark fan, Dave Clark 5 fan. And, but we had a row. We had a stand-up row about it. And at the end, he says, you're wrong, Ron. And he put it on the B-side. The first time it come out, right, it come out as a B-side. I called him more. We had a bigger row on that after, I'll tell you. Afterwards, of course, when we started, people started turning the record over and playing the B-side more than the A-side. In a recent poll, the most played song, and sold on iTunes and downloads and everything else, of the Dave Clark 5 is Because.
Wow. Well,
it's outsold bits and pieces, glad all over.
Why do you think that is? It's just got a bit, because it's got a more meaning to it. It's not just it's not just a sort of throwaway song, is it? It's got a bit more of a... There's
something magical. I mean, to be honest with you, it's been an albatross on my shoulders ever since. Because every time I write a song, people will say, "Oh, it's great, but it's not as good as Because." You know, and the saddest thing is my name's not on it.
Yeah.
Because at that time, boy, there's a long story behind there, but it's got Dave Clark as well. I don't think if you put Mick Smith on it, just put Dave Clark.
Wow.
You know, and and then another sad bit. I mean, it's been recorded by over 30 artists, including the Supremes done a version.
Oh, I've not heard that one.
Supreme, not very good. Bloody album they done. It was called The Best of Liverpool or something.
Oh, goodness.
And it's got Because in it. I thought, what's that got to do with Liverpool?
Yeah.
But anyway, Mantovani done it. It's one of, I email him now and again, but he's got such an ego.
Mm.
What's his face? Peter Noon. He done a very good version of it with the band, Herman's Hermits.
Yes.
But over 30 artists have done it. Why is it so popular? Why is it so popular? I think I don't know. It's simple.
Yes.
And simple is the hardest thing to do, you know, to get a thing off. And I borrowed something from Max Miller. Do you know Max Miller? I've heard of Max Miller.
I haven't, no.
Max Miller, if you want a little note of this on the side, because he's on YouTube,
yeah,
was Britain's highest paid comedian in the 30s.
Oh, okay.
And I used a little thing that he used when telling jokes. He would emphasise, he would underscore key words in the joke. He would go along and say, I was walking down the street and I saw this blonde and she had long blonde hair. Long blonde hair. He would repeat it. So he's drawing a picture in people's minds.
Yeah.
So I said, it's right that I should care about it. It's right. It's right. I said it twice. because I love you. I underscored the key words.
Interesting.
Okay?
Yeah.
Listen to the song, you'll hear what I mean. They're underscored. So as you go along, it's simple. And when I wrote it and I looked at it on paper, I thought, there's nothing there. You know, I should write another middle A. I should write another verse. And I thought, no, why? It tells a story. That is it. And not only that is the chord structure.
Mm-hmm.
That chord structure is brilliant. If I say so, you'll never hear me brag, but I'll brag about that. No, that chord structure is just right. That is wonderful. That helps because when you're doing orchestrations behind it, you know, you can bring out all the way it flows between, you know, majors and minors and augments. It's good, and not only that, you play it today. It still, without bragging again, it still sounds good.
Well, yeah, absolutely does, yeah.
And it's the same with the last song I wrote. As I said, Any Way You Want It. I generally write, you know, it's all in my head, and then I get it all down on paper, and I just put the first lyrics that come to my mind as a rule, and then I do what I call polishing. I go around there and say, no, that don't scan right.
Yeah.
No, I'll change it to this, and I'll change it to that. Then I'll go back to it, and but when I've done Any Way You Want It, I just scribbled down on a bit of cardboard, actually, that was on the table. I think it was an old Weetabix box or something. I just ripped it up and just wrote down the first thing to come in my head. And when I looked down at what I wrote, it was like fonts. Do you remember Happy Days?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
You know, when he used to go to comb his hair and he used to say, no, it's perfect, I don't bother, you know.
Yeah.
And it was like that. I looked at the words and thought, that's not Shakespeare, but it works. You know, and that's word for word as I wrote it. But that Any Way You Want It, getting back to that, nobody asked what it was about. Dave didn't ask. Mick didn't ask. Nobody queried what the song was all about. Any Way You Want It, you can go. And do you know what it was about?
Go on.
It was about a Kama Sutra. that was a book that was banned.
Yes.
Okay? You couldn't buy it. It was banned. You couldn't get it in a library. It was banned. The ban was lifted. I bought it. Very interesting book. Any Way You Want It is based on the Kama Sutra. It's about sex.
Yeah, and I guess
it's about sexual positions.
If nobody
That's
asked,
what I wrote it about.
It never got played if anybody knew that.
No, as I say, with a little help from my friends with the Beatles. If they knew what it meant, but no, I got it through, and I got that through. You know, I said to Ray Davis of the Kinks, I said, I've written a song for Dave Clark. I said, I'll tell you what, it's never going to get through. Never going to get through to this. He says, what's it called? I said, Any Way You Want It. He said, you're joking. I said, no. He said, no, they'll jump on that. I said, oh, no. But nobody did. Went right through.
Wow.
Nobody's ever said anything about it.
Fantastic.
They just took it as face value.
Yeah. Do you have a particular style that you prefer writing in?
No.
It's whatever. Because when I think of going through the research for our conversations and listening through everything you've written, it tends to, a lot of it's got a real rhythmic sort of feel to it. But obviously there's a few.
What I'll do is later on today I'll send you some more of my songs, and then if you can pigeonhole me, I'll be very, very happy to hear about it. Because I've written blues, I've written country, I've written love songs, I'll send you religious songs.
Wow.
I've written religious songs. Okay?
Yeah.
I've written songs. There's a song I'll send you, Stand By for a Bombardment, that I'll send you. It's called The Light.
Okay.
I don't know what it's about. I do not know what the bloody thing's about. Everybody I play it to likes it. I say, what's it about? They said, oh, it's religious.
No, interesting.
Or it's this, or it's that. And I say, well, they say, well, what's it about? I said, it's modern art in music form. I said, it's abstract. It's what you want it to be.
Yes.
I said, I don't know. I don't know what the hell. It come into my head and demanded to be written because no, it sounds weird. I mean, there's songs, I'll send you songs until you tell me to stop because I've got hundreds of them, that I've written that I started in the 60s writing it and nearly finished it and thought, don't bother with that. And in recent years, they've come back to haunt me. They say, I know I sound like a nutcase, but they're saying, why have you forsaken me? I'm here.
Yeah, they're still in there.
I demand that you finish it. So I've had to finish it and bloody record it,
Yeah.
And I'll send you some, to show you.
Oh, please do. Yeah, I'd love to hear them.
So I've written light opera, I suppose. All my love. All my love, you have all my love. It's more or less opera.
Mm.
Forever is not opera, but it's like a show tune. Did I send you Forever? I don't think I did.
No, you didn't. You sent me some pictures, and that was all.
Yeah, no, I'll send you some, and then you can see. And I'm not bragging that I don't stick to one style. There's folk music, there's country, there's religious.
Yeah.
And I mean, you if you go on to Jim Lamb on when you're on YouTube, I think I told you Jim Lamb.
Yeah.
Sings Ron Ryan. He's done an album of my songs, and I think that's for sale actually. Because between you, well, I won't say too much, but I think he needs some money. But I said to him, whatever that makes you have,
Yeah.
Not the songwriting, but the sound, because they're only downloads. They don't charge much. But and their country, my one I like at the moment is done by a friend of mine in New Jersey, John Cortez, who's done a lot of my stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of how do you explain it? Las Vegas lounge kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
That kind of thing.
So obviously in this, the way that sort of music worked in the 60s was the recording studios weren't commonplace. So you got the record deal in order to get recording time.
No, I used the one I used, and you're going to laugh at this, but the one I used was not at this one, Highbury Studios. If you want to look up Highbury Studios, run by a very eccentric bloke called Curly Clayton.
Okay, I've heard that name.
Yeah, if you want to look that up online, I used to use that for my demos.
Okay.
But he was very. But also, I think it was the first place the Stones recorded at.
Ah, interesting.
But you look up on the net because you'll find that interesting. But the other one I used, probably most of all, was Regent Sounds in Denmark Street.
Yes, yeah.
Everybody used that.
So was that quite a small place?
Oh yeah, it was small. I mean, there wasn't many recording studios. But the biggest laugh is that there was a studio within a mile or so from where I lived, and but I wouldn't go there because I heard the bloke was a nutcase, and the bloke was Joe Meek.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did
You
you
know,
ever
I
work
heard
with
so
Joe
many
Meek?
stories about him. I thought, no, I've got enough nutters in my life without another one.
Did you ever work with Joe Meek or not?
No. Funny enough, my band, the Riot Squad, when I left, and I was replaced by an unknown singer called David Bowie, they did do some recordings at Joe Meek's.
Yes, I'd
That'd be,
recall it.
yeah.
So his reputation preceded him.
Yeah. No, I heard that he was absolutely in that case, and I couldn't be bothered, you know. I've got 2 studios that I use anyway, and I knew Bill, who was the engineer at Regent Sound. I knew him well, and he was a good mate of mine. So you know, I got to know him well. So he used to fit me in. I used to go down there with my guitar and do a demo, you know.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you about the demo process. Was that mainly just, like either acoustic or electric guitar and vocals?
Oh no, acoustic. I used to use acoustic guitar, but mainly I used to take my band in. I had a band called the Walkers, not the Walker Brothers, the Walkers,
Yeah.
and they used to come in and play the songs I wrote, you know.
And would you just record it all live together at the same time?
More or less. I mean, it was only a 4-track.
Okay.
So there was no real overdubbing or you know. So they used to split the tracks. Well, you know all about that. I'm not all up on that, but they used to perform wonders with 4-track machines.
And what would you then do with those demos? What was the purpose of demos?
Well, the main thing is I was punting. I was aimed to punt them around, but at that time, this is in the late 50s, early 60s. My brother had joined the Dave Clark 5 as a guitarist, and because he was young and he didn't drive, Dave used to come and pick him up. My brother was never ready. He's one of these, you know. I won't be long, you know, and he spent about a quarter of an hour in front of the mirror with his hair, very vain. And the big laugh is he's nearly bald now. But anyway, so I used to sit there with Dave and we'd have a cup of tea and all this, that and the other. We got chatting and he was doing some film extra work.
Okay.
And he said he's doing a film with Oliver Reed. And if you want to write this down or whatever, if you go on YouTube and put Oliver Reed, Sometimes, okay, that's the name of the song. Well, this is in 1962, I think it was, something like that, or 61.
62, I've got it here.
Yeah, I wrote, I was into writing then, and Dave said, well, if I can place it, we'll go 50-50 on the songwriting, which is crazy, really. But again, people say, you must have been mad to even entertain it. I said, don't forget, this was the late 50s, early 60s. It was all new. Nobody knew anything, you know.
Yeah.
You was just, I mean, bands were going in to make records. They didn't worry about getting paid or anything like that. Blimey, we're recording, you know, that was it, you know. Just to make the record, the money, that's when all the managers and agents made their money, you know.
Yeah.
And anyway, I wrote this song and he got it to Oliver Reed, and Oliver Reed had it as an A-side. And got Dave Clark's name on it as well. Bastard. But there you go. So, and then I was going to punt stuff round, but then the band started. Dave, he was come round. My brother had left by then, but Dave and I were still friends, you see. And he said, would you mind if I come over and have a chat with you now and again about the band and this, that and the other? And so he used to come round and he said, oh, so I'm in danger of losing my contract recording. I said, why is that? he said, the records ain't selling, you know. I said, well, the trouble is you're doing some bloody awful things, you know. I mean, they done I Walk the Line, you know, the Johnny Cash song.
Yeah.
They've done it as an instrumental. It's bloody awful. Nobody's going to buy that. And and he was getting a bit upset. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll start writing. And you go in and see what you can make of them, you know. So I wrote, one of the early ones I wrote was Mulberry Bush.
Oh, yes.
Which I took from the old Let's Go Down the Mulberry Bush, you know, and I rewrote the lyrics, and it's out for copyright. And anyway, they done that, and they actually got on television with it. And that was the first time they was on television. It was on my birthday, 20th of April, always remember. And anyway, it got them on television, and it got them known, you know, by being on television. And then Mick wrote Glad All Over, which is between you and me, is a pinch from Carl Perkins. Don't know if you've ever heard Carl Perkins' Glad All Over.
I don't think I have, but I'm going to...
No, but if you go on YouTube and listen to Carl Perkins' Glad All Over, you can see where he got it from, but that's another story. But anyway, that got them into it, and then I come up with bits and pieces and some other stuff, and away they went, you know.
Yeah. So at the time, writing and doing demos was just, you know, the first and foremost to try and get a record contract of some sort.
Yes, I was trying, but in the end, I turned into the Dave Clark ghostwriter. That's what I turned into.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a chance really to write for anybody else. As all my time really was, I was concentrating on Dave Clark 5 because I had a vested interest. I mean, I was down for 50% of my own songs, all right, and 50% of the record mechanicals, you know, where they pay. And I was down for 50% of that, and it was on a handshake and all that. And but some friends you trust, and they bite you in the arse, you know.
Okay, part 2 of my conversation with Ron Ryan. I hope you've enjoyed that. I would like to say a huge thank you to everybody that has bought one of the lovely enamel mugs that we have. And if you'd like to get your hands on one, you can do that at my website, allyouneedisdrums.com, and there is a shop there. I'm suddenly feeling incredibly guilty that I've just launched straight into a spiel. I didn't have any other news to report, so I'm just launching straight into the last thing. The last thing that I do, I'm sorry. But if you'd like to buy a mug, you can do that there. There's also a load of other free stuff on that website. There's loads of free drums up there, and you can get in touch with me about sessions and the podcast if you've got any suggestions, or if you'd like to just say, hey, you can do that through my website. So that just leaves me to say a big thank you to Rory Hancock for putting the podcast together, to Joe Kane for the intro and outro music, and to David Henshaw for the artwork he supplies every week. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you next Tuesday with part 3. Goodbye!